Absolutely perfect, spot on, and a very warm welcome to each and every one of you who's joining us tonight for the 12th episode of the Not So Late Night Darts Show by HYLO. Hello to everyone who's watching this on Zoom, and also to all of you who are watching us on YouTube. If you're watching on Zoom, you know by now that you will have the opportunity to ask our two stars of the show a couple of questions along the way. If you want to do that, like one person has already done it, I can see, you can raise your virtual hand. You can do that towards the bottom of your screen. You've got the reactions there, and there you can raise your hand. Then I know you want to ask a question, and somewhere along the way, you will get the opportunity to speak to our two stars. And speaking of our two stars of the show, I'm absolutely delighted about tonight's lineup. The first man who's been here around about 5 months ago already, but there's one golden rule in talk shows: only the best guests return. So I'm very delighted to welcome him tonight with his favorite German phrase, "Herzlich willkommen, Devon Petersen."
Thank you very much.
Hi there, Devin. It's good to have you back on the show and to complete tonight's lineup. It's the man who's made his debut as a PDC referee around about 8 years ago. And in the meantime, he has established himself as one of the absolute best there is. I'm delighted to welcome maths genius, former countdown champion, the Kirkulator, Kirk Bevins. Hi there, Kirk.
Hi, Phil, you all right?
Yeah, doing okay. Absolutely delighted about the show tonight. Really looking forward to this. Dev, I just said it's been 5 months since you've been on the show. Back then in January, you were very, very optimistic about the months ahead. You've obviously had a great end to the year 2020, where you've been in blistering form. How are you keeping right now?
Yeah, it's been good. I mean, optimism is always was a great start, and obviously with the year ahead, which was 5 months ago, it was looking like it was going to be a great year. And then I kind of adjusted with my equipment and tinkered a bit with my throw again. And yeah, I got to the quarterfinals of the UK Open, performed okay in some of the Pro Tours, but the last Pro Tour wasn't great. And just kind of figuring out before we actually go into the kind of business end of the season, which is obviously match play kicking us off in almost 3 weeks or 2 and a bit weeks time. And yeah, and then all the other majors that come on. So yeah, I think now I'm happy where I am, but I think I'd just like to kind of polish a bit more and then find some form at the right time.
Well, that's interesting there, because I mean, we said you ended the year 2020 so well after you've changed a couple of things about material, about your throw, working together with Wayne Mardle, and now you're tinkering again with the throw a little bit. So what are these little details that you're looking at the minute?
It's just set up. So when you set up and being consistent on the, like you see Jose de Souza, I mean, he's got that perfectly at the moment and throwing really well. And he's probably one of the examples of that. Like when his setup is correct, like his first start positioning when he brings it up, it's almost probably 80% of the time on the same spot than his pullback. So I need to kind of get that consistency in my setup, initial setup, so that when I'm pulling the dart back, it's an easy release, and it kind of just takes a lot away from focusing and matching up and playing hard, where you just focus on small things like that and kind of just deliver. And yeah, I think Jose de Souza is a typical example of a great throw. And yeah, I'm changing, not changing a lot though, but just needing to kind of evolve my throw, because I mean, the Pro Tour is so fantastic, and the standard is so high. I mean, you're gonna need to, if you want to compete, you gotta change some small little things just to maintain that level.
It's become scientific, really, in darts. And speaking of scientific, we might need someone with a maths degree. So, Kirk, it's time to get you involved in the talk as well. I mean, I asked Devin what he's been up to the last couple of months. I mean, he's obviously playing, but a couple of people are asking, what does a darts referee do when there's not a lot of darts to referee at the minute, with all the European tour not happening and stuff like that?
Well, they just practice their 140 calls and they go and see some trains, Phil. That's what we all do.
Going to see some trains. You might have to explain that for the viewers, because I mean, in the darting world, people know now that you do train spotting as your big hobby, but you maybe have to explain that to a couple of people.
No one needs to know. It's a secret thing. Yeah, I've enjoyed railways all my life. So as a kid, basically you've just got to see all the trains that exist in the country. And because I've done it as a kid, the UK, I'd pretty much cleared most of the stuff in the UK. So I started doing it abroad, where Germany was my base, and I love the German trains. Unfortunately, over the last 2 years, I've not really been able to go to Germany. And so I've took it back up in the UK again. And there's a few new trains to go and get over here. So yeah, I've been doing it over here.
Yeah, come over.
Wow.
Come over and live here permanently. You will stop loving German trains. I can promise you that much.
Yeah, I think that's quite different though. Like Kirk, did you tell me before that you were doing train spotting?
Possibly. Yeah, it's not a secret. I didn't really share it as a kid because, you know, it's the sort of thing you get bullied at. You get bullied.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, well. Yeah, whereas now I don't care.
Each to his own. Each to his own. Like I started falling in love with the game of golf simply because the literature that exists in golf, and there's no literature in darts, and it kind of coincides. So similarly, it kind of lives on a similar platform and with strokes and kind of mentality and all of that stuff. So now I'm fully kind of committed to the sport itself. Bought me clubs, still waiting for it to arrive. And yeah, Joe Cullen and the likes of Nathan Aspinall, they play continuously. So yeah, might be joining a PDC pro golf tour soon.
It's funny you should mention golf, because a couple of weeks ago I had Mervyn King on the show, who's big into golf as well, and it was a really decent player as well. And he said obviously due to COVID and stuff he couldn't practice much, and he compared his swing now to what do you say, an octopus falling out of a tree, which I found a very nice picture.
You can just imagine that. That's a bit like Kirk on the dance floor as well.
Oh, the Wenger boys playing in my mind.
Exactly what I was thinking.
So, Dev, listen, I mean, when we saw each other 5 months ago on the show, we would have hoped for a couple of European Tour events to have gone down in the meantime. Unfortunately, that wasn't to be, but that should give us the opportunity here to look back to a very, very special moment on a European Tour last year when you actually won your first ever PDC title. So let me get that set up quickly here for you, because that really was a special moment in Halle 39 in Hildesheim, and we want to relive that here by having a look at that footage.
Double 11 just outside, just
That's
inside.
why you don't leave double 11.
And that could be curtains, because you've got to fancy Devon Petersen 14. Looking at 36.
Devin, you require 36.
And a little piece of history in the making as Devon Petersen secures a first PDC ranking title.
Devin, this has been a long time coming. Your first PDC title here in Hildesheim, German darts champion. How does it feel? I mean, Dev, we could see there. I mean, there were only around about 500 people in Halle 39 that evening, but we could see how much that meant to you there. Yeah,
I mean, Germany, I've always loved the place, and obviously traveling there, and then the Euro Tours has always been like, and always felt like there's an opportunity in the Euro Tour, because it's such a quick fire tournament. It's all the top players, and then. Yeah, I mean, having those 500 people there, I mean, that was the first time we had crowds back since the lockdown, and to win it in front of them, I mean, it was difficult playing in front of that, like that amount of crowd, because you could hear everybody talking, even though you didn't understand what they were saying. You could still hear them, and yeah, when it got to the final day, I mean, everybody was so captivated by what was happening, because obviously you have the last 16 and the last 8s and all of that, so it's really the meat and potatoes of the tournament. But yeah, it's a fantastic, just looking there now and almost not getting a tear in my eye, but I can almost get that feeling again, you know, like that where I was about to cry. If I had to talk at that point, I would have not said a word. I'd have just been a waterfall of tears at that point.
I would have improvised then, you know. But you know, September 27th of 2020.
Never forget it. Funny fact though, 27th of September in 2000, and it could have been 2010, I won my first South African Masters as well.
Look at that. That is your date. That is your
Yeah,
date. Whatever you do on September 27th this year, make sure it's something big. Make sure it's something big.
It's Devon Day. It's Devon Day.
I mean, Kirk, with Devin, as I said there during the interview after he'd won, it was a long time coming for him. And he was one of those guys where you thought it cannot be long until he picks up that first trophy. When it finally happened, I think I said it last time when he was on the show, everyone was so happy for him.
Yeah, last year you played unbelievable. So I do the spotting behind the cameras on the Pro Tour with Scott Gibbling and Hugh Ware, and often Devin's on the stream. And he was just hitting 180s for fun, and he was just playing so well. And I'm not a great dart player, but you know when you're playing well, the confidence just makes you play better, and you just go up and up and up and up. And then if something goes slightly wrong, then yeah, everyone knows and up to the confidence, and you've got to start again. But he was just riding the crest of a wave, and it's a nice feeling, isn't it? You want to get back to that feeling.
No doubt. And I mean, like you said there, it's a crest of a wave. And in my career, I've had struggles. I've had some little forms of that little crest, but nothing kind of coming close to what I've experienced then. You realize very quickly that moment you want to get back to there so quickly, because you know that once you get there, you become unstoppable, and that means that more trophies and more prize money, and then obviously fly up the ranking. So yeah, fingers crossed. Do you know that myself and Kirk actually played in a tournament against each other in what year was that? 2011.
Oh, I forgot about this.
Yeah, really?
We played in a Yorkshire tournament. Kirk nearly beat me.
Did you get close, really?
To the ball.
Oh, look at that. Look at that. Some darting history apart from the obvious between the African Warrior and the Kirkulator. And speaking of picking up titles and picking up trophies, Kirk Bevins picked up a major trophy way before last year. And we're going to have a look at the picture here. It was back in 2009 when young Kirk Bevins picked up the Countdown Trophy when he won, I think, what was it, 14 episodes you won, something like that?
Yeah, in 2009, I won. That was 11 episodes to win that trophy, but then I won more afterwards.
Okay,
specials and things.
I see. You might have to explain the concept of Countdown a little bit for the German viewers, because we don't really have that kind of show in Germany, but it's a long tradition for this show in England.
Yeah, it started in 1982. It was the first program on Channel 4 in England, and essentially just in letters rounds, they used to have 15 rounds in a game, and you would have 11 letters rounds, and you choose vowel and consonant, as I've got behind me.
See you there, yeah.
And then Carol Vorderman, or whoever the woman was, Rachel Riley in my case, would pick the numbers and the letters out in this particular case. You asked for 3 vowels and 4 consonants or whatever, and then she'd pick them out. And in total, you'd get 9 letters, and then you have 30 seconds to find the longest word that you can. So there's 11 of those letter rounds. There's some numbers rounds where you'd have 6 numbers, so you just pick like one large one, so it's either 25, 50, 75 or 100 at random, and like 5 little ones between 1 and 10. And she'd pick them out randomly, and there'd be a target, say 736. And again, you've got 30 seconds to use those 6 numbers to do some adding and subtracting and stuff, and try and get to 736.
I actually watched a couple of episodes that you were on, and in one instance, the target you were supposed to get was 367, and that's the number you come across regularly now in darts, and you couldn't get it on the show.
Yeah, it's difficult. You only got 30 seconds, and the numbers are difficult because there's so many ways of looking to go about it, so I don't mind not getting the numbers game. It's just when I make mistakes in darts, that's when it really hurts, because everyone's human, but it shouldn't really happen. There's a lot of pressure, I've not got 30 seconds in darts. I've literally got 1 or 2 to add stuff up. So
yeah, and you've got Rachel Riley, who you're talking to. That adds a lot of pressure. So, and anyway, moving on. So I mean, Devin, that tells a lot. That the fact that Kirk won that trophy in 2009. I mean, all of the PDC referees, they are phenomenal, and they are incredible, absolutely incredible what they're doing on stage. But with Kirk, it's like he doesn't make a mistake, the guy.
Yeah, I've known Kirk to be Kirkulator. for a while, and sometimes we kind of just, I remember in the beginning we used to just throw out numbers or give him multiplications, and then he would just get it like in some random, and we have to check on a calculator, and that was crazy. And his techniques is great, and he's a great referee as well, and he's got some he's definitely got a place at the PDC, obviously on stage, and he's made his own kind of area with the way in which, because everybody obviously has characters. I do the dance, Dimitri does a dance. Some people dress up like Peter Wright, and some people don't. But Kirk, obviously, with his special kind of 180s and stuff like that, I think, yeah, Kirk is a fantastic addition to the PDC, and also a fellow Yorkshireman. So yeah, it's great to have him on stage all the time.
Well, it surely is. It surely is. I remember actually at last year's or before last year's Super League, and I had to referee there because due to COVID and everything, we couldn't fly someone in, so Philip's got to do it. And the first person I obviously sent a message to was Kirk. I was like, do you have any tips for me? Anything I can? And then he goes, yeah, when you add something up, try to subtract it again and then add it up again and then see if you get it right. I was like, Kirk, I'm happy if I can subtract or add it once.
I've only got 2 seconds literally to do all of that.
Yes.
So you can understand, I mean, the mentality of and scoring, and as well as staying at full concentration while everybody's obviously making a noise behind you, and knowing how important it is, because the flow of the game as well, if you're making mistakes and all of those things, then it upsets the flow of the game and the players will get upset. So yeah, Kirk, what was your biggest mistake, Kirk? Did you ever have a big one on TV? Or not that I want to kind of hop on it, but I know that you make so little.
If you don't want to hop on it, Dev, I've got it prepared.
Have you?
Yeah. Well, the only mistake I could find is not even a mathematical error. We're going to look at it here quickly. I've got the clip.
Oh no! Is it time for me to go now?
No. Stay. Well. Let's have a look at that. Yes, go in prize against Dirk van Duivenbode in the final of the World Grand Prix.
3, John, 64. He's not getting away well, he's not scoring well. Price is just up there playing.
Yeah, I think you jinxed him, Wayne, because since you started talking, he hasn't won a lick.
Yeah, my fault. Yeah, my fault.
No score.
You'd be amazed at what I get the blame for, John.
There we go.
No score. It's a bad score, you're right, Kirk.
That just shows you how hard it is to concentrate for, like, that was 4 sets, 5 sets in. Just cut. Obviously, the Grand Prix, everyone's going at doubles. It's like no score. And then when someone gets off, it's okay. But to kind of keep focus, right? He started, he hasn't. So if he, yeah. And I just lost my concentration, and I just called no score, and then just snap back into it. 60. Sorry, it's so easily done. It is so easily done.
What a brave move, though, to try to steal 60 points from the Iceman, of all people.
I'd have soon known about it.
He's not that strong. He's soft. Don't worry about
it. We're gonna use this clip, Devin. We're gonna use this clip at some point.
He's a softie. Ice melts. Don't worry about it.
So what we're going to use now is we're going to use the opportunity to let one of our viewers ask the first viewer question of the night, and we've got Marcel here, who we are going to get into our midst, and we're going to see and hear who the question is to and what the question actually is. If Marcel unmutes himself, which he's done right now. Hi there, Marcel. We can hear you. Where are you joining us from tonight?
I'm from Linz in Austria.
From Linz in Austria. Look at that. So Marcel, it's so good of you to join us. Who's your question to, and what is the question?
I've got a question for the calculator, Kirk Bevins. First of all, I love you. You're my favorite caller, and yeah, that's it. How do you prepare for a tournament? Is there like something you are doing, like practicing your maths or so before you get on stage?
Not really. No, I tend to I see if my voice is okay first. If I can't shout 140 or 100, then I'm going to struggle for a long match. So you just say, I can talk to people. When I talk to people, I know that my voice is okay. I should be okay. There's things like the Grand Prix. That's the one I really prepare. So when people start on door 16, and then they go down for treble 19 and treble 7s. They slip into treble 7s. I try and like remember patterns rather than trying to calculate it, because under pressure, if someone goes double 16, treble 19, treble 7, that's really hard to add up. So to try and memorize patterns, but apart from that, not really. I just make sure I know what it's first to, because there's nothing more embarrassing than calling game shot on the match when it's first to 7 instead of first to 6. So just learn the rules as well. No, all referees have to read the rule book, so we have to know if they step over the hockey and that sort of thing. But I don't do that before every match. But yeah, just know what is first to. Break as well. Break after 5 is after 10. Which side of the stage do the players leave? Because sometimes they come on one side of the stage and leave the other side. There's a few things that we have to know before we go on.
Yeah, all right. And just one more thing. Can you give me a 180? Please.
You did it very well.
Thank you.
180.
Thank you so much.
There we go, Marcel. You got the full package here. Tell you, Marcel. Thanks a lot for your question for the 180 request. Thanks a lot. Enjoy the rest of the show, mate. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Marcel. Bye.
I can't actually wait for everybody to come on the show and ask you to do that.
He will lose his voice by the end of the show. We'll make sure. I mean, Dev, as we were speaking about mathematical errors that can happen on stage, not only the referees can do it, but also the players. And there are two famous instances with you. We're going to look at one from the European Tour in 2016.
I hate you, Philip. I absolutely hate you.
Nah, you don't.
I wish you never brought this up, though.
Let's have a look at it. It's, for the heck of it.
Against Ian White. It is
quite cruel, though.
At double 16. That was close to the treble, by the way. Double 16 for Devon.
40.
White.
So at this point here now, I'm thinking to myself,
you see as a player,
he said 16, and in my ear, I thought it was 16 for me as well.
Ian White, 2 4s to sneak it. 2 2s.
40.
Oh boy, it's not going right for White.
Does anyone want to win this match?
32.
Devon Petersen, this is your chance.
Well, I'll tell you what, if he hits this, I'm going to go and rub his head for luck.
Double 16 for Devon Petersen. Double 12 now. Devon Petersen
16
has miscounted. We spoke about his miscount before. He had 32 left. He's done the same thing he did in the World Cup that we spoke about before here. He had 32 left. He went for double 8.
Required 2.
Hit 8. He thought he was on double 4. Hit 4. And then he's hit the double 2. Roared as if he's won the match, and he hasn't. He's miscounted at the crucial time, and White wants the madhouse for a mad end to this match. Double 1 for Ian White. He gets it.
And the match.
And can you believe that?
Well, that was unbelievable. Second time in his career he's done it.
Of course you hit it as well. Of course you hit it as well, Dev. It's such a cruel moment there. That is... But things like that happen. And that's also the pressure also tells with the players, not only the refs there.
It wasn't even a pressure moment, because it wasn't like I was under pressure and I miscounted. It was just I went into the zone. When I missed, I thought, okay, cool, he's probably not going to miss. When Russ Bray said 16, I was so in the zone at the back. When I heard he missed, mentally, I just remembered 16. And I still got it, though, on both occasions. So that shows you there was no pressure. Yes. I've got stones. It's not about pressure. It's just because ultimately, if it was that left, I would have got it and I would have won. So if I missed, it would have been worse.
It's actually the other one, which was at the World Cup 2012. I was there as a fan in the crowd, and I was rooting for you. Actually, you were playing Wales then, and you hit it then, and it was it Richie Burnett who then.
But that there, I can say that my opinion, Russ Bray made a mistake there, because he said I asked him if it was 39 left, and he said yes. And then I went for 39, and then he shouted 10 left. So my lips moved, but he says that he told me 49. So in my opinion, I still feel as though I asked the ref, and he might have said 49, and there's a language barrier and an accent barrier as well. So we'll give him benefit of the doubt, and it's my fault because I should have calculated it correctly. But yeah, I think, and also in that instance, I also got the double. So it's learning. It's things that you learn in a game, and I try not to miscount. I try to stay focused a bit more, but yeah, it's tough. Sometimes you make mistakes. I mean, even Kirk made mistakes, and he's perfect. So it's different.
Yeah, and we love Kirk. You know.
Yeah. Me too. I think whenever Kirk, I think when Kirk does do my matches, I think it's the way in which he shouts the 140 and the 180s and stuff. It's kind of like a calming, but with a high peak as well. So for me, it gets me in it keeps me in the zone. It keeps me. So when my opponent throws 180, it doesn't frighten me really. When somebody else does it, it's like, oh, he's throwing a 180. Kirk's got more like a soothing kind of jazz voice.
Well, people love Kirk's 177s, 174s, and 171s. That's a particular strong point of the Kirkulator there. But what Devin said there, Kirk, that is also, I mean, the referees, I mean, you've got to be on your heels all the time, really. When a player asks you what they've got left and you get that wrong, that's possibly one of the worst things that can happen, because in that instance, you kind of mess it up for them.
Yeah, you've got to be so confident when you say you've got 43 left or whatever, that you're correct. At the end of the day, it's up to the player. So even if I say you've got 43 left and I've made the mistake, it doesn't matter. It's the player's responsibility to work it out. Yes, they can always check with the ref, and I always say, if you're unsure, please check with us. And I try and make sure I'm 100% sure every time when I tell the player. And what I also like to do is, if in that instance where Devon says, is it 39 left? I wouldn't just say yes, because I might miss here because of the loud crowd. I repeat, and I'll say 39 yes, or whatever, 49 yes, or whatever. And if he says, oh, no, I said 39, and then we know there's an error. But I generally don't just answer the question with yes in case I've misheard. And I don't want any kind of comeback on me sort of thing. So I try and cover my back and just repeat what they've said. I just pick up little tips from all the other refs, really, just try and make my job easier, because it's a lot of pressure.
I mean, as we're speaking about the profession of darts referees, I thought we cannot let today's episode go by without mentioning one of the all-time greats of the profession of the darts referee, Bruce Spendley, who unfortunately died exactly 1 week ago on June 15th. And I would say we have a look at his last ever call that he made on a PDC stage at the World Darts Championship 2013, when Phil Taylor won his 16th title. Let's have a look at this, guys.
Double 16 for the match, and it is world title number 16 for Phil Taylor, and it may well be the sweetest of the lot. He has seen off the next great darting superstar, twice coming from 2 sets behind, to win and claim the crown for the first time since 2010. A brilliant performance for the greatest there has ever been.
And he gives Bruce Spendley a hug. Bruce is retiring after this.
Can I just show you this, ladies and gentlemen? This is the first one I've ever signed, Phil Taylor 16, and it's to my pal Bruce Spendley, who's retiring tonight. And I love him. Oh, pal, I love you. You're going to say something, Bruce?
34 World Championships Bruce has appeared at. Ladies and gentlemen, Bruce Spendley, everybody.
I mean, Kirk, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the all-time greats of the sport, and you've got a special connection to him because you were actually the man to replace him after he had retired.
Yeah, that was spine-tingling watching that again, because obviously Bruce meant a lot to Phil, and Phil just won the world title, and it's all about Bruce. You know, he gives Bruce a cuddle and a kiss, and it's such a nice, heartwarming moment. But yeah, I replaced Bruce when he retired after that match, and it was massive shoes to fill. As a referee, we've got to be obviously good at the job, but also different, to have a different, unique voice, and to follow Bruce. His voice was superb. His 180s were superb, and at the end there, you hear him say "Game shot on the match, Phil Taylor." It's just it's iconic, and it's so hard to follow. So yeah, big shoes to fill.
Most definitely. I mean, Dev, he retired in early 2013. You kind of burst onto the scene a bit later than that, but what an iconic voice, and what a great referee.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I used to watch those games as well. So remember, before being a professional, and I'm still a fan today, and we used to imitate their voices when we were throwing 180s in the amateur rank. So yeah, I think Bruce, I've met him a few times. I think he could have called one of my games at the Worlds at one point. I can't remember, but I think I've definitely have contact or communication with him. And what a lovely guy. I mean, and obviously leaving a massive legacy and the likes of paving the way for what the PDC is today. And he's one of those pillars of the PDC. And yeah, we can only thank him so much for everything that he has done.
And the Kirkulator, Kirk Bevins, paid tribute on his social media pages as well, changed his profile pic to this lovely shot here, him being the marker for one of the matches where Bruce Spendley was calling. And Kirk, as Dev mentioned there, he was one of the earliest guys to actually tinker a bit with their 180 call, to make that something special, to make that something a bit more outgoing. So he kind of changed the way that darts is being portrayed today. He's such a pioneer as well.
Oh, definitely, yeah. And we've kind of got into the routine of that's something we have to do now. We kind of shout 180s enthusiastically, 140s, 171s, 174s. And Bruce was like the man that first did that and decided to change all this and make darts a more exciting sport to watch. Yeah, he's left a great legacy.
That is for sure. And I didn't want to let tonight's episode go by without paying tribute to the late, great Bruce Spendley. From here, we also want to send out our heartfelt condolences, obviously, to his family and friends, before we give the stage to our next viewer to ask a question, as we're already halfway through the show. Time's running as per usual. And we have got Kati with us, who is a regular of the show, and curious who her question is going to, either to the African Warrior or to the Kirkulator, Kirk Bevins. Hi there, Kati.
Hi, guys.
Hiya.
It's hard. I have a question for each of them.
Yeah, that's fine as well.
For Kirk, which job do you find more interesting, math teacher or PDC caller? And how hard is it for you to stay so focused for so long in a game?
Okay, more interesting. Darts referee, I think, wins hands down, because there's only 4 of us that do it, or 5 at the moment, and obviously there's a lot of maths teachers around the world. So darts refereeing is definitely more interesting. I love darts. I'm a darts fan, so I get to travel the world and see the best dart players up close. Got the best seat in the house. And how do I keep focused? It's hard. It is really difficult. I've got, obviously, pre-COVID days, I've got thousands of fans screaming and shouting. I've got to be in control of the maths. I'm listening to the players as well. I can see them out the corner of my eye, roughly where they're going, at the top or the bottom of the board. I'm trying to check out for exclusion zone, if they're walking in the exclusion zone, that sort of thing. Throwing underarm darts. Vincent van der Voort, we've had one of them before. Yeah. So yeah, it's very difficult to keep focused. And as we've already seen in this program, I've lost concentration a few times and called wrong scores when it's just long days on your feet.
Okay.
A few times. It was once, Kirk. It was once.
And for Devin?
Yes, ma'am.
What do you think makes a very good caller, and what should a caller never do to irritate a player mentally, but also in relation to his game?
I think a good caller, he definitely needs to obviously understand the breakdowns of the and the new breakdowns as well, because when you the worst thing that a caller can do is break the flow of a game. So when somebody's walking to the board and he has to stand there and wait till you add up, and sometimes obviously they miscount, or there's a slight little slip of a calculation, and they call the score and then they recall the score, because mentally for the opposing player, you kind of putting yourself in having the momentum to kind of challenge what the opponent that previously threw. So yeah, I think definitely maintaining the flow and staying focused, because like Kirk says, I mean, you can lose focus quite easily with the crowd noise, and making sure that there's so many things that they have to take note of. So you can't be too critical, because they're also only human, you know what I mean? So yeah, and I think like you say, I think a good caller, he just has to be have a good voice and a unique kind of 180 shout. I mean, everybody has that. So I think once you find that, and Kirk will probably kind of probably be able to kind of confirm it as well. Like, he probably tested a few 180 calls and 140 calls before he actually found his niche, in a sense. So I think that those two, I hope that answers your question.
Thank you for your answers, and for tonight, good luck for the English team.
Thanks.
Who are they? Who are? I'm joking.
Kati, thank you so much for your interesting questions. Thanks for joining us, and enjoy the rest of the show. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good luck to the English team. She couldn't have made a better transition there, actually, because I wanted to talk football just a little bit, because obviously the Euros at the moment are taking center stage as far as it comes to the attention as far as sports goes at the minute. Devin, last time you were on the show, you were here with your best mate Joe Cullen, and we had a very lively talk about football for a couple of minutes there. You supporting Liverpool, and Joe supporting Manchester United.
Yeah.
Are you following the Euros as well?
Yeah, but not as, I think after the group stages, then it becomes the meat and potatoes, because then you kind of separate the men from the boys, and the football now is not as, I think people always, and I'm talking about England now, like, I know the English fans are passionate, but they run their team down so quickly after a kind of a mediocre performance, and that's probably just how English fans are. But what they don't understand is the English Premier League predominantly isn't the best English players. It's globally, it's a global kind of. If you look at most of the teams, they are mostly foreigners. So I think their estimates of exactly English players is so high that Team England is going to struggle with lack of creativity. But yeah, football is a great thing, and it's great to see the Euros, because obviously, other than the World Cup, this is our other international kind of opportunity to kind of focus on it. And it's great to see the likes of the French team, and probably the last time we see Ronaldo in the Euros as well. So yeah, I'm hoping to see a lot more of him in the Euros. And yeah, I think the football itself is okay. It's not been amazing, because I think everybody suffered in this period with COVID as well as in the times. And so I think mentality-wise and leagues and all of those things, so some of the players are quite tired. So yeah, I think it's not showing its greatest, but who knows? I mean, the back end of the tournament could be fantastic.
We will wait and see for that, Kirk. I mean, I think I know that you're not the biggest football fan, but is that the Euros, a special event that you follow as well?
Not usually. I've said that the only football games I usually watch would be in the Euros or the World Cup, so every 2 years. This year, I watched the England-Scotland match. That's the first football match I've watched for ages, and it's probably going to be the last, because it wasn't very exciting. But no, I might. Will I watch it tonight? Probably not. But as Devin says, in the knockout stage, we're already through to the knockout stages, regardless of tonight's result. I probably will watch the knockout games, just because it's something I should know about, and because I like my quizzes. I like my quizzes, so I've got to know who scores goals and things. And everyone talks about it. It's not very nice being in a conversation like, I've got no idea what's going on. So it's just, I need to watch it to kind of be aware of what's happening.
That is certainly true. And before I ask you two who your money would be on as far as to who wins the Euros comes, I would like to ask our viewers, actually, and I've prepared a little poll here. And the question is quite easy. Who's going to win the European Championship? Is it Portugal? Is it France, England, the Netherlands, Germany, Belgium, Italy, Spain, or it could be another nation? You never know, but those are the big names. Certainly, I'm quite interested in what our viewers think. Devin, if you had to put your money on a nation, on a team, who would you pick?
Definitely, I'll go for probably France. simply because they're world champs and Kylian Mbappe is not in amazing form, but I think that he will come alive at the knockout stages, because I think that they kind of just coasting through and making sure that they all fit for the back end. So yeah, I'd go for France there.
And Kirk, what would you say with your football expertise?
Well, I'll just copy Devin, I suppose. I know that Robert Lewandowski is supposed to be a good player, isn't he? He'll be German. So if he's playing Germany,
not really.
He's not German.
Not really. He's Polish.
Well, no, do you not? No, see,
he plays in the German league. It's okay. It's okay.
I know he plays for Bayern Munich, and I know he sounds like a Polish name, but I can't be, presumptuous. So I assumed he might be German, but there you go, got that wrong. I don't know, so I'll just copy Devon. Is Portugal the favourite then with Ronaldo?
Yeah, but Ronaldo, I'll just tell you now, Ronaldo's in his last year, and I think he's probably going to play another season, but I don't know if he's going to be at his ultimate best. So yeah, but Ronaldo's in the back end of his season, of his years of playing, so he's not that dominant force, but still scoring goals when he can. And yeah, I think that there'll be too much kind of in the tank for other teams than for Ronaldo to carry Portugal on his back.
There you go. He knows what he's talking about. I'll go with France then.
So our two stars go with France, and we will have a look at what.
Who's your team? Who's your team, Philip? I mean, you never said.
Who I would pick? Well, I hope for Germany, but I said before the Euro started, and I'm still saying that I would say Italy. They look really good this year, and my money would be on them actually.
That's a little unicorn there that you just kind of pulled out. Italy. I'll definitely have to have a look at that.
But it's quite interesting because when we look at the results here, then the two favorites of the viewers are Germany and Italy. Well, there's obviously a bit of German patriotism going into this, but Italy, quite at the front there as well. Then France, your tip, 26% of viewers that said France, and not too many believers in Portugal, England, the Netherlands, but they will certainly have to say something about that, I'm sure.
Zero, like nobody thinks like.
Yeah, but 0% for the Netherlands is something you would expect in a Zoom call where there are mostly German viewers on board. that's kind of what you get. So we've got the football covered basically, and the football. Well, not really. The football results aside, let's say. I mean, the big instance of this Euro was, towards the start of the event. Actually, it could have all gone. It could have all started so tragically with Christian Eriksen's heart attack on the pitch. That it just puts things into such a perspective. When things like that happen, that the results and whatever happens on that pitch, basically doesn't matter when something like that happens.
And it's testament to exactly what it is, though. Like. Somebody like at that point in time, Christian Eriksen is probably one of the most fittest athletes. He's an elite professional, and at that time, the only thing everybody was concerned about, or it was his well-being, regardless of what was happening. And that is exactly how everybody should be. Like regardless of it happening just with Christian Eriksen at that moment, it should be within sport all the time. Like being kind. We talk about things on Twitter as well, where you get Twitter trolls and all of those things. Those kind of instances should be wake-up calls to realize, like sometimes when people go overboard or they just ugly, whether it be social media or face-to-face, think of those moments when everybody came together. That is how we should all live, coming together.
That is certainly true, and I think neither of us could help but feel a little Danish yesterday evening when the Danish beat Russia by 4-1. It actually didn't matter that it beat Russia, whoever the opponent was, but there was a lot of feelings going towards Denmark there.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, you look at pinnacle points in sport itself, or points that kind of just shift the balance in sport, and that was, unfortunately, it was a potentially a tragic situation, because I don't think he'll be able to play football again at a high level and at that cost. But I think that in sport, sometimes it needs that kind of shock therapy, and we all realize how blessed we are to actually take a breath and how great the day is every single day that we have an opportunity to breathe. So yeah, I think Christian will go down as an absolute legend, not just for that moment, but for being a legend, for winning different tournaments and just being a superstar and a kind of an icon within the football industry.
That is surely true. Great words there by the African warrior. And to my that, well, as I was speaking to Kirk earlier, I think, if I remember correctly, Kirk, that you're after the show, you're off to a quiz. Is that right, or is that not on anymore?
It's not on tonight. There's one starting at 10 o'clock. Usually I have a quiz on a Tuesday night, but because of the England match, he's not running it. So there's a different one at 10 o'clock.
Yeah, you see, but we've got you covered because I've got a little game prepared. I've got a little quiz. I've got a little quiz prepared myself here, and just to prove, Kirk, how funny it usually gets when you and me play a little game. You might remember it was Belgium 2020 when we recorded one of the episodes of our little program that we call Best of Order, and we're going to have a look at it here. And because Kirk Bevins, quite frankly, gave us the funniest moment so far of the Best of Order, we're gonna check that out. So, just to explain quickly there for the viewers that didn't see that, it's basically about two participants playing together. Yeah, one of them has got to wear headphones. He hears music, so he can't hear anything apart from the music. The other person has got to read out some words that are written down on a piece of paper, and the guy with the headphones has got to lip read. And that's what Kirk Bevins is doing here. And we're having a look at what he lip reads from George Noble. Kirk, you put on these first. George, you've got to read out what's on here.
Okay.
And your 2 minutes start now.
Calculator.
Go again.
Calculator.
Calculator?
Yep.
Oh, yes.
Shepherd.
Treble.
Shepherd.
Champagne.
Shepherd.
Strap on.
Ship.
Crap.
Shep.
Triple. Shush.
Ep.
Shap.
Herd.
Shepherd.
Yes.
Oh.
We got there in the end.
Oh, Kirk,
it's so hard. It's really hard.
I'm telling
you need to bring that game back, though. That game would be great.
I will definitely. We only stopped doing it because we didn't really see each other much, but then because of the COVID and distance rules, you can't really do it. But whenever things are back to normal, we're going to bring that back, and we're going to have you and Joe doing it. It's going to be a lot of fun. But Kirk, I will forever cherish that moment. That was so brilliant. Like,
yeah,
rock on.
You don't even realize what you're saying when you're just trying to just focus on his lips. And I can't read George Noble's lips at the best of times, and I'm just like, what? Embarrassing.
Can you tell the people what a strap-on is, though? I don't think.
I've no idea.
For all the viewers that are above the age of 18, you are free to Google a strap-on. If you're not, don't do it. Oh goodness! What a moment! I'm so happy I could actually show that footage. That was brilliant. So, Kirk, as I said, I've got a little game prepared myself, a little quiz, and as obviously you are the quiz master, and if we quizzed against you, Kirk, you would wipe the floor with us. That is why I'm going to be teaming up with Devon Petersen against you. You're getting the questions, Kirk, on a subject that, quite frankly, Devon Petersen knows everything about, which is South Africa. We're going to have 4 questions about South Africa, and we've got to get you with one, Kirk. We've got to get you with one. I've got a little, couple of photos prepared here for it. They just to give us a bit of a feeling for it. So, Kirk, the first question would be, what is the capital of South Africa?
Oh, that's a trick question. There's 3. So
the mere fact that he knows that it's 3 pisses me off. Like,
that's good. That is actually not a lot of people know that.
Can that be my answer? You got Bloemfontein is one of them. you've got there's Cape Town and is it Johannesburg? I always get these confused. Oh no, Pretoria. Beg your pardon. So Pretoria, Bloemfontein, and Cape Town are the three, not Johannesburg.
I was quite hopeful for this one that we might already get him on question one, but he's got his spot on there. It's quite difficult, actually, that one.
Yeah, no doubt. And some people in South Africa also they only see Pretoria as the capital, but obviously you guys know that it's definitely true.
Now we've learned something already, and the calculator, as we expected, went through question number one without any problems whatsoever, which is why we're going to rapidly move on to question number two. And that question is, how many official languages are there in South Africa, Kirk?
Now then, I always thought the number of colours on the flag represented the number of languages, which is
no,
would make sense, but it doesn't. I think the answer is 9.
I thought, due to what I found out, my research says 11. It's 11. It's like the two obvious ones are English and Afrikaans, and then there are 9. I think 9 further African languages, right, Dev?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm not going.
But good shout, though. Good shout.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm not even going to try to pronounce the names of the other 9 languages because that would no.
There's 11. There's 11 letters in South Africa, so that's easy to remember if there is 11.
Look how his brain works, though. Look how his brain works.
Philip, you just sounded so. Look how his brain works.
But that is like he counts the letters in South Africa and then finds, oh, that's 11, and there are 11 languages. I will remember this forever now. Like
that's the quiz brain. That's the quiz brain going there.
Definitely, but that is impressive, Kirk Bevins. So, question number 3, Kirk, for you coming up. We've had football already, so what is the nickname, Kirk, of the South African national football team?
Oh dear, sport is a weak point. Well, the Springboks are rugby, I think, aren't they?
It's so nice that you say it twice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There we go. Oh. That was a clue.
Oh no, I've heard of this. Then I have heard of this.
It sounds like a fruit. The same color as the top.
Ooh.
Well, like lemon.
That's a teal. That's exactly the same like the strap-on comment that you just lemon.
He picked the wrong yellow fruit.
Well, it's not banana, is it?
Close.
Very close. It's actually one letter that you've got to change.
Yeah,
in the word banana.
Oh, just change a letter, not add a letter.
Nope, just change one of the letters.
I can't remember. Banada. I don't know.
It's the 6th letter of the alphabet.
Yeah, it's actually. You've had enough clues now, so.
Bafana.
Oh.
We got there in the end.
That's been so long since I've heard that fact.
Lemon.
Reminded me, yeah. I've heard that before.
Lemon. That's the good one. Well, I think we all remember Bafana from 2010 when the World Cup took place in South Africa. So that's kind of where everyone heard of the term. Is YouTube?
Was that the Vuvuzela World Cup? Was that when they played those?
Oh yeah. That was the one. And it's a Zulu term, apparently, which literally translates to the boys, but actually means go boys, something like that, yeah?
Yeah.
So that would be it. So, and the final question, the 4th question, which is a very interesting one, I think, anyway. We can see here the street sign of Vilakazi Street in Johannesburg. And, Kirk, what is the very, very, very extremely interesting fact about Vilakazi Street in Johannesburg? There's something happened there that only ever happened there. I think I wouldn't have an idea about any other place where that might have happened.
I have absolutely no idea. So that's a clue that something happened there. It's not like it's the shortest street in the world or anything like that. So something happened there.
Well, I don't know if something happened there. It's maybe not the right term. Might be a bit misleading, but
it's in Soweto, and it's the most iconic street, simply because of the residents that lived on that street.
That is true. That is true. That if that doesn't set you on the right track, then nothing will, I don't think.
No, southwestern townships. I don't really know much about Soweto. It's probably nothing to do with apartheid, is it?
Yeah,
Mandela and F.W. de Klerk or anything like that.
You got the first one right.
Yeah, you're in the right direction anyway. This is, Villakazi Street is probably definitely the only street where 2 Nobel Peace Prize winners lived. It was the obvious choice, Nelson Mandela and then Desmond Tutu. They both lived there, and I couldn't think of another street in the world where that might have happened.
There's no other street.
That's a great fact, Phil. That's made my show.
Oh, my show was made when you spoke Strapon and then lemon.
You know what we should do? We should get Kirk a shirt of the Bafana and put
with lemon at the back.
Lemon on top.
180 lemon.
Yeah, we should definitely do that. Whenever the next birthday is around the corner, we'll think about that, Dev. Certainly.
Oh, that's great.
So, guys, what we're going to do now is it's actually quite funny because we've got a regular viewer from Greece, and his name is Kostas. And before the show, he actually sent me a message that he couldn't stay until the end of the show today because apparently he's got something better to do. Would you believe it? But he sent in a couple of questions to both Kirk and you, Devin, and I'm going to ask one or two of them to conclude the show tonight. So we're going to go first with Kirk. So Kirk, Kostas would like to know, who's the tour card holder you most expect to chat about something funny or kind of unpredictable to the refs after the final game shot call? Is there someone who says something funny, or do you have a funny chat with after a game?
Rob Cross likes to talk. In a nice way. Yeah, he talks a lot. No, but after a game, most players, obviously, they shake each other's hands and then they just want to leave the stage. The winner's so happy they just leave, and the loser sometimes storms off. So, yeah, I don't really know. Depends what's happened in the match. If I've made a mistake and they want to chat to me about it, but usually no one talks apart from Rob.
So that will be the first. I've just read there's another good question to Kirk that we're going to conclude things with, but first we're going to go for Devin, and that is a question that fits brilliantly into our time. I mean, with all the long gaps that you've got between playing at the minute, what is the biggest mental challenge, Dev, for a pro player after a long period not playing darts? You know, for example, in the summer, you know, when it's then getting time to return to the hockey, what's the biggest challenge?
It's maintaining that match sharpness, though. Like sometimes when you're practicing, it becomes like long periods of just constant throwing. And you can throw in practice routines which do work. It does simulate it, but that match sharpness that we used to have, like playing week after week and traveling to a European tour and just maintaining that confidence that you can't get and the momentum. It's kind of non-existent. So it's more stop-start. Like it's literally like trying to stop a train and then it has to shoot off again at the speeds that you kind of expected. So yeah, it's definitely the match sharpness and the momentum that we kind of find hard at this point in time.
So that is the answer to that. I've got to read that as a final question here. Is another one for Kirk, but the way it's phrased, I have to read it. It starts by Kostas starts by saying, Wayne Mardle said many things on air, which is true in itself. One of which was that, and many people believe that 60 is not a bad score. If you agree, Kirk, why is it that you are calling a 60 with such disgrace in your voice?
60. It is almost like a time waster, like especially for when you hear referees, it's like you want to apologize, like, I'm so sorry I threw a 60, I apologize. Yeah. So tell us why, Kirk. Tell us.
Jose de Souza and his wife love my 60s. They always go 60 when they see me. There you go.
Why is there no kind of like, you don't feel as though it needs to be?
If they're all on the wire of treble 20, I'll go 60. But if it's just a 20, a 19, and a treble 7, which adds up to 60, I'll just go 60. It's a different kind of 60. It's a different emphasis. It's like an unlucky all round the treble. Not that's a rubbish set of 3 darts. That's what I'm trying to convey.
So there we learn again about the pitch and that pitch that I was talking about earlier, because we as players can hear that as well. So
that's true, and I read a lot of comments about Kirk as well, and many people pointed that out as a very positive thing, that you change your intonation as to whether it's a shot that happens in a crucial moment in the game. You would call a different game shot when, I don't know, when we're in a race to 4 sets and it's 3-3 and someone gets a break with a massive finish. You would call that differently to another simpler game shot, let's say.
Yeah, because I'm a darts fan at the end of the day, and when I watch the darts, I enjoy it. You hear the commentary, like on a 9-darter, the commentary will go wild, and I don't just go game shot on the first leg. Devon Petersen, I'll give it large because it's an exciting moment. I'm part of there for the entertainment as well as a referee. So, I try and, if it's a 170 out and the other guy's on 32, I'll give it larger than another 170 shout, even though it's the same shot. It's like how I feel as a fan in a moment. Like, I'm impartial, obviously, but I know when it's a crucial shot, he's missed 3 at a double, he's taken 156 out, you give it large. And it makes it a good show, I think.
It definitely does. And I certainly hope that it's been a great show tonight for everyone that watched us on Zoom and on YouTube. We're already through the hour of the 12th episode of the Not So Late Night Darts Show by HYLO. A massive thank you to Devon Petersen, who joined us for a second time. It's been a pleasure as always, Dev. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Our pleasure, mate. Our pleasure. And thank you very much to the Kirkulator, Kirk Bevins, who gave us probably the moment of the show with lemon.
Lemon.
We won't forget that in a hurry. Kirk, thanks so much for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show.
No problem. Thank you for inviting me.
And finally, a big thank you to each and every one of you who watched tonight. Please leave us a like on our social media pages of PDC Europe, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. Follow us there, and then you will never, ever miss another episode of the Not So Late Night Darts Show by HYLO. Thanks a lot, everyone, for joining us tonight. Thanks a lot to my stars of the show again, and hopefully see you very, very soon. Have a lovely evening.